Welcome to an in-depth exploration of John Simon's investigative report, dated February 1, 2026. This report uncovers a web of betrayal, hidden agendas, and the silent complicity of U.S. policymakers in land acquisition and redevelopment schemes. Over the next several scenes, we'll unravel the connections between historical events, personal tragedies, and the manipulation of statistics and dates. Our journey begins by setting the stage. The U.S. government's covert involvement as a silent partner in controversial land deals and the far-reaching consequences for individuals like Simon and countless others. Let's dive into the details and see how these threads are woven together. Report opens with a stark accusation. U.S. policymakers have been caught in the act of betrayal. For decades, their silence on the Palestinian genocide has been deafening. Now, after the completion of Israel's campaign and the securing of more land for Knesset expansion, the parallels to historical events in Europe become clear. The government's role as an associate in these enterprises raises troubling questions about accountability and justice. Simon's personal losses, his home, business, and family, are echoed in the stories of many others who have suffered in silence. This betrayal is not just political, it's deeply personal. Standing silent in the face of atrocities has become a pattern for some in power. The report draws a direct line between the U.S. government's silence on the Palestinian genocide and its willingness to provide refuge for those involved in controversial land acquisitions. Many of these individuals, Simon claims, are also linked to the September 11, 2001 attacks. The silence is not just a lack of action, it's a form of complicity, allowing harmful enterprises to flourish and evade accountability. This silence has far-reaching effects, impacting not just nations, but families and individuals. The heart of the report is the enterprise of land acquisition and redevelopment. Simon details how these schemes are used as mechanisms for expansion, often at the expense of vulnerable populations. The loss of Palestinian homes is not just a tragedy, it's a calculated move to enable further expansion. The report suggests that these tactics mirror those used in other historical contexts, drawing uncomfortable comparisons to events in Europe's past. The consequences are profound, reshaping communities and leaving lasting scars on those affected. Simon's story is deeply intertwined with the events of September 11, 2001. He draws connections between the tactics used in land acquisition and the devastation wrought by the 9/11 attacks. Simon lost his home, business, and family, and he believes these losses are part of a broader pattern of targeting and displacement. The report suggests that the same playbook used in land schemes was at work in the events leading up to and following 9/11, further blurring the lines between personal tragedy and global events. Recurring theme in the report is the idea of hiding and deception. Simon describes how countless individuals have faked their deaths or gone into hiding to escape accountability. These tactics are not new, but their scale and coordination are alarming. The need for a place to hide becomes a driving force, shaping the actions of those involved in these enterprises. The report paints a picture of a shadowy world where truth is elusive and deception is the norm. Simon argues that the loss of Palestinian homes is being used as a mechanism for Jewish expansion. This, he says, is a deplorable tactic that echoes other historical injustices. The report draws a direct line from these events to the broader enterprise of land acquisition and redevelopment. By examining the mechanisms at play, Simon hopes to shed light on the underlying motives and strategies that drive these actions. The implications are far-reaching, affecting not just individuals, but entire communities and regions. Report draws uncomfortable parallels between current events and those of the past. Simon compares the tactics used in land acquisition and expansion to those employed by Adolf Hitler across Europe. These historical echoes serve as a warning, highlighting the dangers of unchecked power and silent complicity. By drawing these comparisons, Simon urges readers to recognize the patterns and take action to prevent history from repeating itself. Simon's report repeatedly returns to the events of September 11, 2001. He suggests that the same individuals and tactics involved in land acquisition were also connected to the 9/11 attacks. The loss of his home at 6240 Malvern is presented as part of a broader pattern of targeting and displacement. By linking these events, Simon highlights the interconnectedness of personal and global tragedies and the ways in which hidden agendas can shape the course of history. A unique aspect of Simon's report is his focus on numerical patterns and date calculations. He draws connections between significant dates, such as the Liston versus Ali fight, his own birthday, and the 9/11 attacks. By reinterpreting these dates and numbers, Simon suggests that there are hidden relationships and meanings underlying these events. This approach adds a layer of complexity to the report, inviting readers to look beyond the surface and consider the deeper patterns at play. Simon references the famous Liston versus Ali fight on February 25, 1964, drawing a connection between this event and his own experiences. By calculating the number of days between significant dates, he finds patterns that he believes are meaningful. These connections serve to reinforce his argument that there are hidden forces at work, shaping events in ways that are not immediately apparent. Use of sports history as a reference point adds an unexpected dimension to the report. Report details the abduction of Simon's children, alleging that they were coerced into lying and aiding those responsible for his losses. Simon's ex-wife and her husband are named as participants in this scheme. The parallels to the film Cahill U.S. Marshal, which features a father and his two sons, are drawn to highlight the personal nature of these tragedies. Simon's story is one of manipulation and betrayal, with far-reaching consequences for his family and beyond. Simon's report is rich with cultural references, from the film Cahill U.S. Marshal to Elton John's song Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. These references serve to ground the report in a broader cultural context, connecting personal experiences to widely recognized works of art and entertainment. By weaving these references into his narrative, Simon adds depth and resonance to his story, inviting readers to see the connections between culture, history, and personal tragedy. Elton John's iconic song, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, is a central reference in Simon's report. Recorded in 1973, the song's themes of leaving behind comfort and facing harsh realities resonate with Simon's own experiences. He draws connections between the song, the television show Green Acres, and the broader theme of land and home. These cultural touchstones serve as a backdrop for Simon's exploration of loss, displacement, and the search for meaning in the face of adversity. Television show Green Acres, which aired from 1965 to 1971, is another key reference in the report. Simon draws parallels between the show's themes of rural life and land ownership and his own experiences with land loss and displacement. By examining the airing dates and their numerical relationships to significant events, Simon suggests that there are deeper patterns at work. The show becomes a symbol of the broader struggles over land and home that define his story. Simon's report is notable for its use of statistical relationships and date calculations. By analyzing the intervals between significant dates, he identifies patterns that he believes are meaningful. These statistical markers, such as 6240, 563, and 91101, are used to draw connections between seemingly unrelated events. This approach adds a layer of complexity to the report, challenging readers to consider the possibility of hidden structures and meanings. Film The Wizard of Oz, released in 1939, is another cultural touchstone in Simon's report. He draws connections between the film's release dates and other significant events, using date calculations to reveal hidden patterns. The Yellow Brick Road becomes a metaphor for the journey through tragedy and loss, as well as the search for truth and justice. By linking these cultural references, Simon adds depth and resonance to his narrative. Simon's use of date calculations is a distinctive feature of his report. By examining the intervals between key events, such as the release of Green Acres, the Bush-Gore election, and the recording of Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, he identifies patterns that he believes are significant. These calculations are used to reinterpret dates and numbers, suggesting that there are hidden relationships underlying the events described in the report. A significant portion of the report is devoted to land measurement comparisons. Simon identifies relationships between different units of measurement, such as acres, hectares, and rods, and uses these to draw connections between people, places, and events. The names hectare and rod become symbolic, representing both individuals and units of measurement. By analyzing these relationships, Simon seeks to uncover the hidden structures that underpin the enterprise of land acquisition and redevelopment. The report includes several visual representations of land measurements and statistical relationships. These images help to illustrate the complex connections between units of measurement, people, and events. By visualizing the data, Simon makes his arguments more accessible and compelling, inviting readers to see the patterns for themselves. The use of visuals adds a new dimension to the report, enhancing its impact and clarity. Continuing with the analysis of land data, Simon delves deeper into the relationships between different measurements. He examines the significance of numbers like 6240 and 563, exploring how they appear in various contexts. By connecting these numbers to people and places, Simon builds a case for the existence of hidden patterns and meanings. This analytical approach is central to his investigation, providing a framework for understanding the broader enterprise of land acquisition. Simon provides a detailed explanation of land measurements, noting that 1 acre equals 0.404686 hectares. This conversion is important for understanding the scale of land involved in acquisition and redevelopment schemes. By breaking down these measurements, Simon helps readers grasp the magnitude of the changes taking place. The use of precise data adds credibility to his arguments and underscores the seriousness of the issues at hand. Another key measurement discussed in the report is the rod. Simon explains that 1 rod equals 5.5 yards, and that 16.5 feet make up one rod. These details are more than just technicalities. They are central to understanding the relationships between people, places, and land. By focusing on these measurements, Simon highlights the importance of precision and accuracy in uncovering hidden patterns and meanings. Numbers 6240 and 563 appear repeatedly in Simon's report. He uses these numbers as statistical markers, drawing connections between different events and measurements. By analyzing the significance of these numbers, Simon seeks to uncover hidden relationships and patterns. This focus on numerical analysis is a distinctive feature of his investigation, setting it apart from more conventional reports. Simon's analysis extends beyond numbers and measurements to include people and places. He identifies individuals, such as Hector and Rod, whose names are synonymous with land measurements. By drawing these connections, Simon adds a personal dimension to his investigation, highlighting the ways in which abstract concepts are grounded in real-world experiences. This approach helps to humanize the report and make its findings more relatable. At its core, Simon's report is an investigation into the enterprise of land acquisition and redevelopment. He examines the strategies and tactics used to acquire land, often at the expense of vulnerable populations. By analyzing the relationships between people, places, and measurements, Simon uncovers the hidden structures that drive these enterprises. His findings raise important questions about justice, accountability, and the future of land ownership. Consequences of land acquisition and redevelopment are not just political or economic, they are deeply personal. Simon's own experiences, including the loss of his home and the abduction of his children, illustrate the human cost of these enterprises. By sharing his story, Simon gives voice to the many individuals and families who have been affected by these schemes. His report serves as a powerful reminder of the need for compassion and justice. Throughout the report, Simon identifies patterns and parallels between different events, people, and measurements. By drawing these connections, he seeks to uncover the hidden structures that shape our world. Whether through statistical analysis, cultural references, or personal stories, Simon's investigation challenges readers to look beyond the surface and consider the deeper forces at work. As we approach the end of our exploration, it's important to summarize the key findings of Simon's report. He uncovers a web of betrayal, hidden agendas, and silent complicity, all centered around the enterprise of land acquisition and redevelopment. By analyzing statistical relationships, cultural references, and personal stories, Simon builds a compelling case for the existence of hidden patterns and meanings. His report challenges us to question the narratives we are given and to seek out the truth for ourselves. In conclusion, John Simon's investigative report offers a unique and thought-provoking perspective on the intersection of politics, history, and personal tragedy. By weaving together statistical analysis, cultural references, and personal experiences, Simon invites us to look beyond the surface and consider the deeper patterns that shape our world. His report serves as a call to action, urging us to seek justice, accountability, and compassion in the face of hidden agendas and silent complicity. As we reflect on these findings, let's remember the importance of vigilance and the power of truth.